Good evening, everyone. I'm Rotaract Tisrodi Silva, and joining with me, moderating this event is Rotaract Primeshi Vedagedara. I would like to warmly welcome you all to this prestigious event organized by the Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya. If I may give you a small introduction about this project, NextStep 360 is one of the signature projects organized by the Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya, dating back to the year 2006, where it was inaugurated. In 2020, the NextStep was revolutionized and rebranded as NextStep 360, and this year the legacy continues. NextStep mainly targets the professional careers of university undergraduates, and we are dedicated to producing a course spanning around 4 months, which would assist you to develop professional qualities required for a glistening professional career. The course mainly focuses on 3 avenues: job seeker, entrepreneur, and academics, where in each avenue, the followers would get the opportunity to develop a unique set of skills. We've chosen the finest set of resource personnel and the career guidance unit of University of Peradeniya to provide you with the best guidance for a secure career after graduating. For participants who are successfully completing the course, will be provided with a valuable certificate. And let me say this, joining hands with NextStep 360 would be one of the best steps an undergraduate could take towards the path of success. Primeshi?
Thank you, Tisura. Even I'm super excited to have you all. At the same time, I'm really excited about all the conversations that we are going to have today. So let me introduce you to the outstanding personalities with us this evening. Joining us today is an award-winning TV presenter, the leading news anchor, corporate trainee, and lecturer who has an amazing visionary. We warmly welcome the Managing Director of the Institute of Essential Studies Private Limited, Assistant Governor of the Rotary District 3220 Rotarian, Rotaract Past President, Paul Harris Fellow, Ms. Bernadine Jayasinghe. Also, to shine the evening with the most courageous personality, the Assistant Vice President and the Head of Learning and Development in Retail Sector of the John Keells Group, we warmly welcome Mr. Hiran Nugawela to the NextStep 360 2021.
Thank you very much. It's amazing to be here, and definitely it actually took me back in the memory lane to NextStep 2017 while you were talking about the journey of NextStep. And it's great to see you're doing amazingly well and having the consistency while raising the bar as well. And connecting to that, how's life revolving around the pandemic? I would say that 2017, I traveled to Kandy to deliver the speech for NextStep. But now today, I'm right in front of my laptop. It's all virtual. And sitting in front of a laptop from morning till evening is not easy. But what's important is being optimistic and keep moving while enjoying the journey. So right now, we're all on lockdown, but you can travel the world through your imagination and conquer the world while using technology wisely, like what we are right now doing.
Madam, even though you are not physically present here, you look amazing. And I know that Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya isn't the unfamiliar territory for you. What about you, sir? How's the life with the pandemic?
Thank you, Tisura. So first of all, I need to thank the Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya for having me here. It's really an honor. And also it's a pleasure to share this virtual stage with Bernadine, seeing her after a very long time. So it's an absolute pleasure. Life during the pandemic, Tisura, so it's been very, very busy. So as you know, I work for the Keells supermarkets. And the Keells supermarkets have been working right throughout the pandemic and facing a lot of challenges while at it as well. So it's been very busy. You really don't feel the time go by.
Exactly, sir. Seems like the future is unforeseeable. We will have to adapt to our new norms and hope for the best. Shall we move on with the proceedings of the webinar then, Primeshi?
Yes, sure. So here's the first question to our guest panelist. Ma'am, I need a small clarification. How do we know what fields are more suitable for talents, personality, and character?
I think that's a brilliant question because there's something I always say that is actually before conquering the world, before conquering our dreams, before conquering our career, there's something that we really need to discover and conquer. And I believe that before conquering anything, what we really need to do is we need to discover ourselves. When you discover yourself, you can discover your passion, your career, and you can conquer the world. I want you to actually ask yourself, who are you? If I really ask you, I really want you to ask from yourself, who are you? Tisura, who are you? Prineshi, who are you? Shakti, Dilak, who are you? I want you to tell your name loud and ask yourself, who are you? And then later on, after you really understand who you are, I want you to ask yourself, who do you really want to be? Why do you want to be that person? When do you want to be that person? And how are you going to be that person? It's really important. And let me once again clarify, it's not what your neighbors want. It's not what your parents want. It's not what the society wants. I want you to really understand, who do you really want to be? And then after that, you need to ask yourself, I mean, like, what's the purpose of life? And after that, the truth is that it's not easy to discover these overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of understanding. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of realization. And I want you to listen to your heart and decide from your mind, who do you really want to be and what field you want to pursue, what will make you happy. Because the bitter truth is, any industry is not going to be great or easy or amazing, and it's not going to be smooth ride. I'm sure Hiran will agree. And we never thought that, this pandemic might come up, and we never thought that our lives are going to be extremely tough. Right? We might be extremely talented and everything, but how we can adapt to it and how we can face it now, as beautifully mentioned by Hiran, now Keells Super is extremely busy. Like, are we going to keep complaining or are we going to find solutions and face it? Is what's really important. So, quick answer to your question, I would say that if you really want to understand which field you want to work according to your talents, according to your personality, according to your character, I think firstly, after you discover yourself and why you want to do all these things, you can actually do a SWOT analysis. I'm sure you know what a SWOT analysis is. Sometimes when I do lectures, most of the students will say we have done SWOT analysis for companies and la 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 la. And I then ask, how can you do a SWOT analysis for a company if you haven't done for yourself? I mean, you need to love yourself. When you know how to develop yourself and love yourself, you will definitely know how to respect someone else's growth, someone else's success. So do a SWOT analysis. I know right now you might be thinking, oh, okay, do a SWOT analysis. Yeah, right. After this, whole thing, you'll just log out of this and then just, watch some videos or listen to some music or maybe complain about your thesis or some exam that you have to do and online and all these things. And I mean, even though this sounds very lame, this really helps you to properly understand yourself. I do it for myself. And the truth I want you to understand, even if I say discover yourself, right now the goal you have might not be the end goal of yourself. Why we ask you to do this is for you to keep going. While you're going, you will understand what you want. Things change with the experience that you get. I'm sure Hiran also might agree, because I think a long time ago we met at the Young Forum. We were young. We're still young anyway. But still, I mean, we were all like you all, very enthusiastic, energetic. We wanted to learn. So that time, if you really ask me, my goals were quite different. But later you try to learn, you try to analyze, but you have to keep connecting the dots. So quickly, let me summarize without making it a lecture. So do a SWOT analysis. Understand and analyze, what are your real strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? And see how you can actually invest in your strengths. Sri Lanka, A big problem that we have, I love Sri Lanka and I'm really proud to be a Sri Lankan, but a big problem that we have is if we have a set of talents and strengths, what actually happens is we're extremely happy with that and we are very content with that. I'm not asking you not to be content, but what I want you to do is you have to keep investing in your strengths. If you have a strength, that's where you're going to, keep climbing. So you have to keep investing, keep learning, keep developing, and see how you can do your best by using that. So you see how you can do that. And if you know that you have weak points or you know that you have weaknesses, you have to see how you can get out of that. For that, sometimes habits and things, it's not easy to get out. Like, as if I say, because I know some of my students, they say, madam, it's easy for you to say, but it's very hard for us to do, which is extremely true. Now I'll come and say and I'll go, but when you try to do it, it's not going to be easy. So, I mean, work hard, get a mentor, get someone to push you. That's how we do. Even though we, talk like this, it's not that we have done things like this. We had fallen, we have messed up, we have taken time, and we've taken wrong decisions, and we have taken a long period of time to achieve certain goals, but later on you learn in the process of that. So just to summarize, do a SWOT analysis, and then after, if there are opportunities, see how you can go grab those opportunities. And if you see threats, build a bridge to overcome that, get help from someone. Just don't go walk towards that and say, what, we have a threat and what can we do, and things like that. So just see how you can overcome those. Then try to align your passion, talents, capabilities, education, and your dream, where I started with, who do you really want to be, and see what field will best suit you. So what did I say? See how you can align your passion, talents, capabilities, education, your dream, and everything, and see what field best suits you. And again, I want to, even though it takes time, I just want to clarify this. That is actually, we all have dreams, right? If you agree, just type on the chat box saying yes. We all have dreams. We all want to be successful. We all want to be happy. And I think if someone says no, I think it's a lie, right? We all want to be successful and happy. So what I want you to really understand is, have that, have that consistency, because a lot of people I know that they want it and they will think I want this field, because some set of people will say that. And after this, listening to certain speakers, again, you might think, oh, maybe then I should follow that field. I think I might be good in that. I think the young people, that's how it happens. I'm talking about myself long time ago. If I see someone, then I say, okay, then I think I like that. I want to follow that. But it's not that. It's about what you really want. Secondly, see whether you can translate your passion into profession, where you can actually enjoy what you do. But in a country like ours, you have to ask yourself whether really can you live with your passion being your profession, right? Because that's my personal life story. I have a passion. I like certain things. I have translated that into my profession, but sometimes it's not my full-time job as well, because you have to see how you can live in this world as well. So you have to use your brains. You have to see what is going to help you. And again, if you have an end goal and a dream to go there, sometimes the field that you have to choose is not that itself. Sometimes you need to have experience at certain other fields and come there. So like if you take my life, that's how it has all connected the dots. So finally, I want to tell you, maybe, make sure that you, properly understand. So when you know where you want to go, you will know which road to take and which roads to avoid, and what ticket to buy and what not to buy. And when you have a timeline, then you will know what to prioritize and get to the targeted destination. And having proper career guidance, having a good mentor will be great. And also remember, your intuition, your gut feeling, your inner soul knows the best. So let's connect the dots.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for bringing up the concept that loving yourself is the most important thing. So in addition to this, I want to ask education qualification, and what are the external qualifications that we must acquire in order to be unique among others, and how important that they can be for a future job.
I would say education is a passport to the world, and how you conquer your dreams and goals, how you accelerate in your career and balance your life will be backed by soft skills, meditation and self-discovery, as I mentioned before as well. So maybe a very long story short, I would say give priority to developing soft skills, your qualities and inner self. Naturally, your behavior, attitude and energy will speak for you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your answer. So next, I would like to turn to Mr. Hiran. So the next question is for you. So what is the importance of postgraduate education and how does that affect the income of an individual?
That's a very interesting question, Primeshi. So the question has two parts. I'll answer that in the two parts. Postgraduate education, yes, it definitely is important. While I say that, I would also like to point out a fact that currently it's a trend in the world and everywhere, right? We sometimes want to gather qualifications just as a tick box, right? We want to do the degree. Yes, we want to have a professional qualification done. Yes, we want to have postgraduate done. Yes. So while postgraduate qualification is important, what I would like to tell you is do not be in a hurry to get it, right? So don't treat education, I mean, Bernadine very nicely put it, education is the passport to the world, right? It definitely is. So don't treat education as a tick box. So with education, what you learn, the knowledge, skills, and the attitudes you get, you need to use it for your own benefit, right? So when you complete your degree, then that is in the current context, a degree is completely is sufficient for you to obtain an executive level role at any corporate, right? So there might be a day where an MBA would be an entry level requirement, but currently it isn't. A degree is completely sufficient. So do your degree, and you definitely need to have plans of having a postgraduate qualification, but don't be in a hurry to do it, because a postgraduate qualification adds more value to your life when you go and do it with some work experience. My personal view would be for you to go for postgraduate education when you have a team reporting to you, when you have a team working for you, when you're leading a team, when you're a team leader. So use that. So at that stage, use this postgraduate in the education that you get to boost your career, give your career a boost from that point onwards. So the concepts that are discussed, the theories that are discussed, you would be much more comfortable with all that, because you have seen all this happen in the corporate world. You would be able to connect the dots very easily. That learning you get, you would be able to apply it immediately. And that will really add value to you as a person and to your career as well. So yes, postgraduate education or qualification is important, but don't be in a hurry to do it, right? So second part of the question is how would this affect the income of an individual? I would really ask you to disconnect the two, right? So the postgraduate qualification you would get, you would do for your own learning, for your own development, and for you to be a better person. And through that, through the knowledge, the skills that you gain through the postgraduate education that you get, you go and apply that, you go and show what you can do in your job, in your company, wherever you work with. And when you show results, then the income will follow. So don't treat a postgraduate qualification as don't create that expectation. Okay, since now I have postgraduate qualification, my income should go high. No, separate the two. Get the postgraduate qualification, show everyone who you are, what you can do, create a demand for yourself, then the income will follow. So another thing we very commonly see here is income is important, right? Because we do these things as Bernadine said, to achieve our dreams, to be happy. So to do that, income is important, but income shouldn't be the driving factor. You should be able to show what you're capable of and create a demand for yourself, then the income part will automatically follow, because all this works in a demand and supply based on a demand supply principle, right? So the more value you bring in, the more important you are, the how impactful you are, what kind of a person you are, will achieve the rest of it and give you that income that you want. Right? So summarizing it, postgraduate education is important, but don't be in a hurry to do it. And income, don't be driven by it. Once you show what you're capable of and deliver the results, you don't need to be asking and demanding for income. It will automatically follow.
So thank you very much. And I don't think so for most of us, the things that we are hearing is that life is a rat race. You have to run, you have to take postgraduate degrees, do this, you have to have a good income. And I think I've never heard somebody telling us like you have to relax, do a good job, then only you should pursue a postgraduate career. And I'm like so happy to hear that sort of words coming out of an experienced person like you. Also, sir, these days, most of us in the future also, most of us would be doing our undergraduate researches. Those are mandatory. And what is the impact of undergraduate research towards the postgraduate degree?
That's also an interesting question, Tisura. Before I get to that, I would like to pick on a word you used, the rat race, right? I mean, what is this rat race? It's totally it's not worth it at all, right? We are all human beings, and this is a journey we should all go together happily and enjoying ourselves. And when you bring in the word rat race, then it brings out competition where you want to be better than the other person, where you want to put the other person down and achieve your own dreams. So that is not humanity. That is not being human. So I really don't like that rat race word, because it is totally it's unnecessary. Because as human beings, we are all very beautiful people. So we need to go on this journey happily together with everyone, because that is where the real success lies, and that is where the real and that is what matters in the end, right? I mean, we won't be taking any of these when we move on to our next stage. So that is what really matters, going in this journey together. So coming back to your question, Tisura. So the research, yes, for undergraduates, it is mandatory. And it actually, there is no direct impact on the research you do with your postgraduate degree, right? Because if you, as Bernadine very correctly put, you should identify your passion, right? And you should follow your passion. And once you have identified your passion, your education would be along the same line, the job you get would be along the same line, and the postgraduate education that you do would be along the same line. But if you don't haven't identified your passion, that is completely all right. There doesn't need to be a direct link between what you do in your undergraduate studies to your postgraduate studies. You can be adventurous. You can find your passion along the way. And so if you have found your passion, yes, then automatically these will get linked. There will be a impact on the undergraduate research to your postgraduate. But if you have not, you can just see, I mean, at that point, identify what is important to you and do it. So I've met many people who have engineering degrees to all that, and they get into a job with that. But once they move up the ladder, up the career ladder, then they want to do an MBA in maybe in human resources, maybe an MBA in human psychology, right? So totally not related, but it adds a lot of value to your career in terms of the journey that you are taking. So in summary, there is no direct correlation. If you want to make a direct impact of it, it is up to you. It is completely your choice. It is in your hands. But there doesn't need to be a direct impact between the postgraduate research, the undergraduate research and the postgraduate education.
Thank you, sir. And sir, like if you end up obtaining a general degree without a class, is it still required for us to like follow a MSc, or if so, if one could like follow a MSc, what would be the most demanding fields these days we can find?
I think, I mean, as undergraduates, we all should work hard to achieve a class, right? Because I mean, that is challenging yourself. I mean, that is making the most of the time you spend here. But even though you give it your best shot, right? But even if you don't get it, then there's, I mean, no problem at all, because you know you have given it your best shot. There are other ways. I mean, you not having a class is not a deal breaker for anyone. And I don't think that the fact that you don't have a class is a requirement to do, I mean, should be a requirement to do a MSc as well, right? And because I don't see a direct correlation there either, right? So once you complete your degree, having a class will definitely give you an advantage. But when you go looking for a job, when you're facing those interviews, sometimes a class can be a eligibility criteria for some programs, like some management training programs to all that. But actually, for I would say 90% of the opportunities that's out there, a class is not a strict eligibility criteria. So at that point, what really matters is what you bring onto the table: your personality, your attitude, and as Bernadine also mentioned, the soft skills you bring in, right? So focus on those things as well, and to focus on yourself to be a well-rounded person, well-balanced person. And currently in most companies, they really look at what kind of your personality, because a very popular saying, or it's a popular saying, but and a very true saying as well: you hire a person for attitude, right? Every company will hire a person for the attitude and the values. You can be the first, you can have a first class, you can be the batch top, you can have this middle, that middle, but at that interview, if your attitude, if the attitude you display, the values you show are not in the right place, you wouldn't get it, right? So most of the top corporates, they hire for attitude first. So attitude is the most important thing. So that that attitude, that learning attitude you bring, the humbleness you bring, so all that will make it much more easier for you. So it's not mandatory just because you don't have a class for you to do an MSc. No, it's not mandatory. Because as I explained, you need to work on the other things as well, what you bring onto the table, and then you can later focus on a master's degree when you need it, right? Not because you don't have a class.
So I think like the participants who are joining with us are so fortunate to hear some things that coming out of a such experienced person like you, sir. Those are very inspiring words, and thank you. A simple question to ma'am. Ma'am, why do you think someone should pursue a career in the corporate sector?
Simply, I would say that you can directly look at Hiran, and I think he will be a great example for sure. Because while he was talking, I'm actually amazed and really proud of him. Because I still can remember, like I was mentioning before, like long time back, like I think years ago. We are not going to mention about the year because then you'll get to know our age. So I would say a long time ago. So I really liked how Hiran touched on a very important point. I won't say very important point, but very important points from attitude. Say working together, teamwork. It's not being a star, but how you work together, how you grow together. Because a company is not just a one star who's going to shine. Everyone needs to shine if the company needs to shine. So I think the values and everything. So corporate sector actually grooms and molds you. And how actually, so I think Hiran is the best person to talk about the corporate sector, because I started with corporate sector, but then later on I moved out because I was following my passion. But what I learned from corporate sector, again, I would say the training that we get, how we get molded. Because people mentor you, and you actually look how people grow and how people deal with things like that. So, there's so much. Definitely, I would say why a person should pursue a career at the corporate sector would be experience, then diverse networking, learning while you grow. I think it's like sometimes certain jobs, it's like you learn while you grow, and also like on the job. And I would say every challenge you face transforms you to be a better personality. And corporate sector is not easy. It's very, very, it's very competitive, because I'm not talking about competition between people, but I'm talking about the whole sector wise, it's very competitive. So as a team, you grow together. Every time that you see how you can do something great, how you can innovate, how you can come up with great things. So when other people are trying to come up with better ideas, you also try to come up with better ideas. So at the end of the day, everyone's actually raising their bar. And so another good thing about corporate sector, I would say, is that you learn the company culture, the discipline, teamwork, leadership skills. Even if you want to be an entrepreneur, again, I would say the corporate sector will definitely give you a great foundation for your life, which was a great foundation for my life. And also it will be an opportunity to learn about business strategies, how things work, how things are being handled. There are so many growth opportunities, mentorship opportunities. I would say a lot of training programs, which will help you to be groomed and molded. And so many things that you can actually get through by pursuing a career in the corporate sector.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. And now I have some more information about our newly designed course. So I hope you all will give your attention to these points. So our newly designed course, each avenue would comprise 3 levels: the beginner, intermediate, and advanced, where you'd be well educated about the avenue you're seeking. And you can find our course plan if you follow the link provided in the chat box. And also in the chat box, you can find the registration link to our course. We have already 200 plus participants enrolled with us. So being keen enough to grab the last window of opportunity to get enrolled with us. So further information will be provided after getting registered. Back to you, Tisura.
Thank you, Primeshi. Let's turn back towards our discussion. Sir, this is somewhat of a controversial question. For a job seeker, under the current situation of the country, what would be advantages looking for job opportunities in Sri Lanka, or would it be migrating to a foreign country?
That definitely is an interesting question, Tisura. So I wouldn't say either is right or wrong, right? It will depend on a lot of other factors as well. So if it is, as Bernadine also mentioned, if you're following your passion, and then that area that you want to follow for your own development, it might not be that developed in Sri Lanka. So then you might have to migrate, and then you might like to migrate and work in another country and start life there, and you might want to migrate for experience. So and there are reasons for you to stay back as well. I wouldn't say either is right or wrong. It would be a personal choice, but personally I feel I mean, we hear this everywhere that මෙහි ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ, ලංකාව ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ, අපි පිටරට යන්න ඕනේ. I mean, this attitude is there, right? But what I believe is, I mean, this is the country we were born in. So we need people like you to, if it is in a bad place, we need people like you to bring it to a good place, right? And this thing we call brain drain of the brains in our country going to other countries, it's very unfortunate. But I mean, as I said, it is a very personal choice where you like to live and build your career. But I would also like to say, I mean, the ideal would be, if you like to go, I mean, ideal would be staying in Sri Lanka and contributing to the development of this country. And if you like to go abroad, yes, that is a very good opportunity for you to go abroad, see a lot of things, learn a lot of things, get a lot of good experience under your belt, so that you can come back to Sri Lanka and share all that with all the Sri Lankans. So that would be my advice as Hiran to you, but I won't say anything is right or wrong. You also mentioned the current situation, Tisura.
Yes.
So something that will happen in the current situation is, I mean, taking the pandemic into consideration, we know the whole world is suffering a lot, and the death rates, if you take, I mean, across the world, has been very big numbers. If you see, I mean, which is very unfortunate, but if you see how this will turn out to be, we will see the end of this pandemic. And when we see the end of this pandemic, there is going to be an economic boom, right? There's going to be a huge economic boom that's going to happen. And for this economic boom to happen, I mean, with the death rates and everything, and the new, there's going to be a new demand for talent. There's going to be a new demand for talent created worldwide, and especially in the in countries that they have expected for a lot of growth to be in. So they are expecting the biggest growth after pandemic in the Asia Pacific countries, not European countries, in the Asia Pacific countries. So in the Asia Pacific countries and even Europe, where so they will also up their game to compete with this, right? So there's going to be a huge demand for talent. So if you make yourself ready now, if you during this pandemic period, if you make yourself ready, I will touch on it in detail further, then there is a good opportunity for you to get a very lucrative offer, maybe out of the country, maybe to an offer to migrate, or maybe to stay in Sri Lanka. So this is something we can expect at the end of the pandemic. So what I would do is, what I would tell you is, be ready for it. And the decision whether staying in Sri Lanka or migrating would be a personal decision you would want to make, thinking about your future, right? But you know my personal message to all of you. So with that, I would say it's a very personal choice.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is for ma'am. Is there a difference between the set of skills and qualifications required for the corporate sector and the skills possessed by fresh graduates?
Graduates have so much energy, enthusiasm, and definitely knowledge. And I would say that there is a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of drive in you. But most of the time, there's a gap between the skills possessed by fresh graduates and what the corporate sector or the world needs, as you mentioned in the question. So it's not that you lack that. You have it in you. But what you need to do is you need to discover it, you need to work hard, you need to polish it, and you have to work on it. Now, if you really sometimes really analyze certain skills, you have to learn. And again, certain skills, you have to actually work on it. Like, okay, I would say soft skills are essential. That's one reason I renamed my academy as Institute of Essential Studies, right? So always make sure that you keep investing. At least I would say if you can at least dedicate 15 minutes a day to develop your skills, I think that would be fantastic. So always invest to develop your skills. Maybe I would say communication skills, basic technical education is very important because now we're all going virtual. We don't know what will happen in future, for how many years we're going to actually be right in front of a laptop. So I think it's good to actually have a little bit of technical knowledge as well. Interpersonal skills, adaptability, research skills, then also project management skills. I think critical thinking is also like problem solving skills are extremely important nowadays as well. So all these things are really important. So as you mentioned, sometimes, yes, there is a gap between what the corporate sector actually requires, or even if it's the entrepreneurs, anyone, the world, what the world needs, and what the fresh graduates actually are possessing with them, or what they actually have. There is a little bit of a gap. So what you really need to do is, as I mentioned before as well, after you identify which field that you want to pursue and what you really want to go concrete, like in your life, then you really need to understand what you need to have to patch it and bridge it, right? So then we'll actually understand. I think you really need to analyze, understand, and improve. I believe that even if you become number one in the world, still there's so much for you to learn, right? I always call myself an amateur because there's so much to learn, even from the students. And every day I learn so much from my students as well, and anyone that I meet in life. I think that's really important. And also, as beautifully mentioned by Hiran, I would say values, attitude is extremely important. Because at the end of the day, we're working extremely hard and we all want to be happy, right? So if we are going to be extremely competitive with other people rather than being competing with ourselves to develop ourselves, what's going to happen is we're not going to be content, we're not going to be happy. We might be very happy on social media, but reality, we are not going to be happy. So truth is maybe a little bit deviating from the question, but I want to tell you because I speak to a lot of young people. What I want you to understand is don't get carried away with what you see on social media, right? Sometimes we post pictures and you think, oh my God, they're successful, they're very happy. And that is only the positive side. Come on. That's like one picture of, I would say, like after 24 hours, that's just 1 hour or 5 minutes picture. Whereas you don't see how much of effort that a person have put into that and how much of things that they have messed up, like including my story. If you take, there are so many challenges and I've messed up beautifully, right? And then I've taken, you fail, you get up. But what's important is it's okay for you to fail. It's all right for you to make mistakes. But what's extremely important is that you don't repeat the same mistake, especially at the corporate sector or when you go to the industry. You can't be repeating the same mistake, right? So it's okay for you to make mistakes, but make sure that you try your level best not to repeat the same mistake. And secondly, compete with yourself every single day, but never compare or compete with another person. When you naturally work on those beautiful values, I think you'll be able to naturally, demand for yourself, like Hiran also mentioned. There will be a demand for you. So again, getting back to the question, I would say you can bridge the gap. Now, I think we should not even talk about this question at another forum in future. You have to be responsible to work on it and make sure that Sri Lanka, we don't want questions like this anymore. This question is brilliant, but everyone in this audience, I think you need to pledge that we have to work hard so questions like this doesn't have to be addressed in future. Because I don't know, I'm sure that you all agree with me as well. So a quick one to finalize, I would say analyze, see what you need to develop yourself, and you know what you need to develop yourself, right? It's very, very clear cut. So don't wait till someone asks you to work on it. And the second thing is, I know why a lot of people don't work. Okay, if you can, maybe you can use the chat box and tell me, why aren't you working on your communication skills? I mean, you're brilliant. You're extremely knowledgeable. I mean, you have so much of talent. I mean, after some few years, you meet them, that energy, enthusiasm has sometimes a little bit, like gone down. I don't know, do you agree with me or not? Like I've seen, right, during these years, I've seen students who've been in the third year, fourth year, they have so much of energy. Then you meet them after 5 years or so, where they're performing their ease. Because what happens is, they think, okay, maybe I'll adapt and I'll just, settle to it. And why do you settle? Why can't you? I always ask this: if you're giving your heart and soul and putting your whole life to passing your exams and getting a degree, why on earth can't you dedicate half an hour or 15 minutes a day to develop your skills? Right? Sometimes you come and say, I don't know whether this is useful for you or not, but I sometimes, a lot of people say they're not good in English. Right? Do you agree? I don't know. Maybe you can disagree as well. I mean, you don't have to be. Tisura, Primesh, do you agree? Do you have this problem, or now is it already solved? Am I talking about a very old problem?
No, ma'am, you are talking on the spot, very specific, and I guess those are the answers that our participants also even seeking.
Because actually now the problem to this English and communication skills, what I want you to ask is, every year you ask them the same problem. Now, if you really look into, if you ask them, why aren't you like, I mean, okay, let's talk about English. Because I mean, English is one language we learn from grade 1. Am I right? Right?
Yes.
I think up to A levels we learn, right? We change all the other subjects, and A levels you do some very new subjects and you pass it really well. Whereas the subject that you've been doing it throughout your years, sometimes you're not that good when it comes to speaking. Then later on, the classes you slowly sneak peek and go after your A levels is also English. Am I right? And while you're at the corporate sector, also some people, they go to develop. They don't want to tell about. But my question is it that you're not talented? Or is it that you're not believing yourself? I would say you're extremely talented, but problem is that you don't try it because you're scared of making pronunciation mistakes. You're scared of making grammar mistakes. You're scared that people will make fun out of you. You're scared that, you will not be able to properly communicate what you want to tell them, right? It's easy for me to say, it's hard for you to do. Singaling කියනවනම් මට කියන්න ලේසි, කරන්න අමාරුයි. මම කියලා යයි. හැබැයි කරන්න ගියාම තමයි ඒකේ අමාරුව දුක ප්‍රශ්න ඇති වෙන්නේ. But what I want you to tell is, I really want you to challenge yourself and do that, because we all make mistakes. And if you take myself, I was not great at all at the beginning. I mean, we make pronunciation mistakes sometimes. I don't know each and every word in the dictionary, right? I also learned so many things on the go. So what you need to do is, Varadinda Hari Patangandore, right? For you to, work on it, you have to do it. So the biggest problem I see is, it's not that lack of education. It's not a lack of opportunities. It's not that lack of, we have so many stuff, right? Even undergraduates, you have so many training programs. But what happens is, then other log off, you will think, I want to be successful. Mr. Hiran it was monkey and all these things. You go and sleep. Next day you wake up. Right? So I want you to promise yourself, promise all of us, because all of us are dedicating time for you today. So I want you to be honest yourself and promise yourself that you will do your homework and see what are the skills, what are the areas needed by the corporate sector to be an entrepreneur that you are actually lacking or that you need to grow. and how you can bridge it and how you can work on it so that you don't have to go and develop from the beginning when you join the sector, right? So I trust that all of you will type promise on the chat box, promising Hiran, myself, and the organizing committee that you will do that homework and develop yourself. I mean, what I believe is implementation, right? Not just listening, because I've done that, right? I've listened and I want to be successful and everything. I've stepped in the morning and I'm like, honey, I wish I could be like that. And that, you pass, you go on and on and on about it, and that never happens. So, but I trust that you'll promise me right now, not only me, okay, I trust everyone will type. Have a borrowed a promise karandepa. You have to promise honestly. Barina, don't say promise. Right? If you honestly are going to promise, you have to dedicate at least 15 minutes a day and develop yourself, right? So, okay, I'll give you like few seconds for you to actually type promise. If you're shy, you can direct message and say promise. If not, if you are going to take grab the opportunities that do that, adhisthana karagana, tell yourself and say promise, I'm going to do it. And that's how I changed my life. When I started, there were so many obstacles I went through and a lot of challenges. So I was one of the, I think when I started, I was not great at all at so many professions. So every time after I go through a lot of tough times, I tell myself, I have to promise to myself that I prove that I'm good at it. Like Hiran told, you need to create the demand. For that, you need to actually work hard and you to prove yourself, right? So I am very proud of Aravinda who typed promise first. I think we all need to applaud. There's so much of courage, and I'm happy Tarindi how she mentioned promise. I definitely will do that. And Dasini saying promise, I'm going to do that, and everyone saying that. I'm so proud and happy, and I trust and we trust that you will keep that word. And next time, next step, you can come and share your story and say how you developed yourself. Over to you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the explanation. So then this question is also for you. So madam, how do extra qualification affects job seekers in corporate sector?
Extracurricular activities, is it?
Yes.
Okay, right. So I would say it is a feather on your hat, and I would say something which speaks louder than words, because extracurricular activities teaches you leadership skills, team building, communication skills, balancing life, and how to adapt to situations, broader social skills, and also it helps you to manage your time as well. And it helps you to build your character and personality. And especially, I would say extracurricular activities, the best part about it is that you get an opportunity to make mistakes and learn through that platform. And you're undergraduates. I'm so happy that we were able to talk to you, because this is the time you can mess up. Don't mess up, right? Because I told you. But I'm telling, if that is the worst case scenario, the thing is, I mean, this is where you can actually grow. I'm being very honest. I just want to be very, open about this, because I mean, there should be a place where you should start. So what I want you to actually say is leadership skills and everything you learn through practice. And when you do extracurricular activities, what actually happens is you get a chance to, see how things work. Because so if you take myself, turning back, I would say that sometimes we don't know what empathy is, right? Sometimes we think that we are really nice and we are really good and everything, but sometimes certain words might have discouraged someone, right? Certain ways of me handling certain things might not be the best way. So with practice, you realize, okay, this is not going to work out. And then you realize everything that you think is perfect and the best solution is not going to work out with different people. Right. So I think those are the things I've learned throughout. So some time ago, I was not really good with my time management skills, but then later with time, you learn. Right. And then certain decisions, I mean, when you're young, your blood is boiling. You get so annoyed with people. Right. Sometimes when you see people, you don't like them. Am I right? Right. But later on, you understand, no, professionalism, understanding, empathy, and seen how, how you can, develop someone. So likewise, so many things that you can learn through extracurricular activities. And mostly, I would say, if I'm to say simply, you see a difference of a set of people who have done extracurricular activities. I think you get that vibe when you meet someone, the confidence, the way they portray themselves, the way they communicate. I think so much, positivity in that.
Madam, so I have to say this again and again. The words that are coming out from you are so inspiring, and I guess for most of our participants, I guess they have some new role models here. They can see you and Mr. Hiran, and I guess for some of us, for most of us, you guys would be the new role models. And also, sir, this question is for you. We know that you are a vice president of the John Keells group, and our participants will be very interested to hear the working experience of yours. How does working as a vice president, if you can share it with us, that experience?
Yes. So it's I wouldn't say, I mean, working as a assistant vice president, no, but at the end of, I mean, whatever position you hold or whatever level you hold, you're a team player at the end of the day, right? And you are working with a lot of other people to achieve that goal and make lives better for a lot of people. So experience wise, yes, I mean, for me, I mean, all of us, I mean, anyone who has got to, I mean, to a higher position in an organization, there is a lot of hard work that has gone into it. So I started my career at John Keells as an intern, and I mean, it's a long journey that I've come. And experience wise, yes, it has been very enriching. But whoever you are, at the end of the day, you're a team player. So you just I mean, go, as I said, go on this journey with everyone. But from this experience, and I won't say I'm very experienced, this is also, I mean, a little experience, I would say, from everything that is out there, right? And what is ahead of me. But the journey I have come, I would say, is very, very short, and it's a very little experience. I wouldn't say a lot of experience, but from that little experience, there are a few things that I have learned, and I would like to share that with you guys, right? So what I would like to share is 5 things that would make you successful in a corporate environment. So at this point where you are looking for jobs, and when you get that job, I want you to, and when you get that job you're looking for, I want you to remember these 5 things and keep them in mind, right? So this is from my experience, in the sense, my personal experience and what I have seen happening around me for the past years and the journey that I have come. So first thing I would say is the attitude of learning, right? When you complete your degree, when you get your class, the second upper or the first class or whatever it is, when you step into the corporate world, step in with a learning attitude. Don't go with an attitude like, okay, I have completed my degree, I know everything, I can run this company from tomorrow. No, don't go with that attitude. You have to go with a learning attitude, because you will realize that there's a lot of things for you to learn. I mean, if you go in there with your mind closed, you wouldn't absorb anything. Go into it with your mind open. Be ready to learn. And if you don't know something, be point blank and say, sorry, I don't know it. Be honest. I mean, there's no shame in that. None of us know everything. So that learning attitude where you are open to absorb everything like a sponge is very, very important. And the learning attitude also means you realizing or you accepting that you don't know this, and you take steps to learn it, right? So that is number one, learning. Number two, I would say, be humble and respect people, right? It goes a long way in the interpersonal connections that you make. So there's a very popular saying, no one will remember what you say to them, but they will remember how you made them feel, right? So make other people feel respected, whoever they are. They might not agree with you, they might have different views. I mean, when you step into the corporate world, there are plenty of other people who have different views, who are think differently to you, and they are in their sense their own, they go their own journey, right? They have their different ways of managing, they have their different ways of leading. So be humble and and respect all that. That will greatly improve your interpersonal relationships, which will go a very long way, because anyone talking about you would talk about would either say you're a great guy or a nice guy, or okay, he's not that great, he creates problems, he doesn't know to get along with people. So I mean, you won't have a future if that is the perception that you create for yourself, right? So number two, be humble, respect people. Number three is something very important and something lacking and something people get distracted with, is integrity. Be honest and practice integrity. You might see a lot of things happening around you. People taking shortcuts, people trying to bring another person down, people doing things that are not right. But you, by doing those, you may see that people achieving stuff as well, but that is never sustainable. Only thing that matters is doing the right thing and putting the hard work behind it. So the number three thing I would say is practicing integrity and being honest. Number four is just give it your all. Whatever you do, put your 110% into it. Don't hold back, and don't think. And a lot of, a very good example is when you step into the corporate sector with a lot of high expectations, right? I have a first class, so I think I should be getting a 6-figure salary. So you step in there. So, but at the end of it, you don't end up with that. So you have this attitude of I'm not getting what I expected, so I'm doing a half-hearted job. But that won't get you anywhere. Give it your all. Whatever you do it to the best of your ability. Give your 110% and show through what you do, show who you are, because that is what matters at the end of the day. So number four is give it your all. And the final thing, I think the most important thing, go on this journey together. Help your, when you join the corporate sector, you will have a team. Don't try to step up the ladder by stepping on someone. That is never going to work. What should take you up the ladder should be your work, and you need to help everyone go up the ladder. Give helping hands to people who needs to come up the ladder. So go on this journey together. So those are, from my experience, from the little experience that I have, those are the things that I have identified as would be very important for you to succeed when you start your journey, your corporate journey. So if I recap, number one is that learning attitude. Number two is your humbleness and you respecting people. Number three, honesty and integrity. Number four, giving it your all. Whatever you do, you give it your all. And number five, going on this journey together. So I hope you will remember it, and I hope it will be helpful to you as well when you take that step.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. And we have some questions from our viewers, and I would like to appreciate the enthusiasm shown by our viewers towards the webinar. There are lots of questions, but when considering the time being, I don't think we can ask every single question from you. But sir, we've selected some questions from both of you. You can ask it, and this one goes to ma'am. Actually, ma'am, if one's passion is only to learn new things, will he or she be able to make money?
Just repeat that again. If one's passion is to
learn new things, is if it's learning, will he or she will be able to make money? That was the question.
Okay, so interesting question. I think that's a brilliant question. I would say simply it all depends according to what you really want to do, right? As I mentioned before, and learning new things. So when you learn new things, obviously you are developing yourself, right? But how you can see whether you're going to get a return from that is maybe coming up with something where you can generate revenue, maybe coming up with something to maybe, put all those learnings together to actually get something out of that. Because see, learning new things, I think we all need to applaud for that particular person, because I mean, when we learn, when we develop ourselves, our home starts developing, our university starts developing. And when our home and the university, our company starts developing, the whole industry and the city starts developing. And when the whole industry and the city starts developing, the whole nation starts developing. And when the whole nation starts developing, the whole world will start be developed world. And all of us will be able to live in a developed, fantastic, fabulous world. So for that, I think the foundation is learning new things and also developing ourselves. Now, answering the question in a very quick way, it's not easy for me to answer this question without knowing what you're learning and why you're learning and how much of your time is being spent to learn that. And also why? Because see, then after knowing that, actually, you can see how you can, okay, example, are you going to share that knowledge with a set of people? Are you going to put it on YouTube? And are you going to generate revenue through that? That's one, right? Or second thing is that, are you going to come up with a new company and strategize it and see how you can come up with maybe finding a solution for the problems in the country? That's where entrepreneurs are actually born, right? So I mean, it's really hard for me to give you one answer, a direct answer, without knowing what exactly that person is actually doing. Is he or she here right now asking the question?
No, ma'am. We've got the questions from Slido. We've uploaded the link, and I don't think we would be able to trace the person.
Because one thing I wanted to say is, as Hiran also mentioned before, you don't have to run behind money. You don't have to be driven by money. Because if you get driven and if you are if you're always going behind money, it might lead you to wrong direction as well. As long as you know what's the clear destination, what you want, and what are your values, it's okay to generate money. Obviously, we would love to enjoy our lives in a good way and buy the things that we would love to have. And that for that, you need to have money. But it's always about keeping values in mind. And I'll tell you, I mean, becoming successful is good, but it should be always in the right way. Right? Values are important. So something what my mother always tells me is that more than fame, more than popularity, more than money, or more than anything, what matters is integrity. What matters is your values, and what matters is what is right and what you believe in. You can always leave your job and come. If you can't, stick to what is right. I think I'm very much thankful to my mom for that. So I've always told myself that. So keeping that in mind, if you're actually finding ways to make your passion a way that you can actually earn, that would be fantastic. I hope I answered the question. You can actually.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Pretty much.
And just that I want to tell, always see from your passion how you can actually have a passive income source, because I believe now it's very hard for everyone, right? And that's the truth, right? If you have time and if you have the capabilities and abilities, why not find ways to have a passive income source which will contribute to you, your family, and your industry as well as the country? So always see, it's always good. It's not running behind it, but it's always good to have big dreams. I always say have a big dream, goals and everything, but always remember you need to enjoy the journey. Maybe if you have time, let me give you a quick one, because I love telling these to students, because a lot of people always get misled with what we say, saying that, do it, you can do it and all these things, but you have to understand the reality. You can do it. But then, people say there's nothing impossible, right? I mean, obviously there's nothing impossible. Do you agree with me or not? Now,
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So, Primesh, yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing impossible. But what you really need to understand is you climb up, a mountain, right? You go on top of the mountain and you look around and say, there's nothing impossible. I want to fly. And if I want to fly, I can fly and jump off the mountain. You definitely need to fly, because you go and hit your head on a rock and go to heaven, right? So, but what you really need to understand is that doesn't mean that you can't fly, because you can go climb the mountain, analyze and understand, and see how ways you can use to fly. You can, there are so many ways that you can maybe, like there's skydiving for you to enjoy how the air, then you have, maybe get an airplane and go flying, or helicopter, anything, or maybe you can invent something. So, but the truth is, even though we say that there's nothing impossible, that doesn't mean you get it like this. It takes so much of hard work. It takes so much of analysis to be done. It takes so much of research to be done, and so much of development. Even if you want to do skydiving, can you just go and say, okay, I'll pay and I'll just go jump? No, right? You have to learn. You have to understand. You have to know how it will work. And you have to have, most of all, you need to have courage, right? So I think that we need to actually keep in mind, and have passive income sources.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So I would like to ask final question from Mr. Hiran. So why aren't there much companies in which conduct research on new technologies in Sri Lanka?
I think, definitely in comparison to some of the developed countries, we don't, because the main reason I say is the lack of investment and the lack of technology in itself to experiment on new things. But I think in Sri Lanka, I mean, now there are a lot of companies who are investing in these areas of research and new technology. And I'll give you a John Keells example, because it is something I know of. So we set up a research. I'm not sure whether you all know it as well. So John Keells set up a research arm about 5 to 6 years ago. So it goes as John Keells Research, and we have scientists working there, exploring new avenues, new technologies, creating new patents to advance in this area of technology. New inventions. So I think to answer the question, the main reason is the lack of investment for research, and that is one of the main reasons. We have brain drain as well, because to complete their research, they need to go to foreign countries where there is good investment and advanced laboratory facilities, advanced testing environments, to all that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And we've come to the end of the inaugural webinar session, and I hope this webinar was an eye-opener for most of our enthusiastic participants. Before wrapping up the session, by considering the time being, ma'am, sir, can you give us some small feedback? What do you think about our project? What do you think about our webinar?
Go ahead, Bernadine.
I would say that's fantastic, because I believe that all of us need guidance, and also we need to be educated. And it's always really good to hear like a person from the industry speaking as well, so you can get a better understanding. So I think this is a great thing. I mean, because I was listening to Hiran, who was sharing some amazing points. And I believe those are really important, because those are not just, I mean, just like, I don't think he's saying for the sake of saying, he's meaning it, he's gone through it. And also it makes sense not only to be successful, but also to be content successful, and also to help other people grow and grow together. So likewise, from my side also, like with all the insights, I think with the other resource personnel that you will be bringing in, you will be actually planting a seed in the heads of these amazing future leaders. And I believe that the right seed should be planted to actually reap, like the right, things that you have actually planted. And so because I mean, what happens is, I believe that if you plant a mango seed, you get mangoes, right? You can't plant something else and expect another fruit. So similarly, I think that what you're doing is amazing. You're planting amazing seeds in the heads of the future leaders, one. Secondly, my request to the audience is that they are doing something great, not for themselves. It's for all of us. Because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, if we grow, the whole country grows. And I believe that we have a responsibility to contribute to the nation, to contribute to the world, because we are right now benefiting all the amazing resources of how many people have worked hard to give that to us today. So for the generations to come, I believe that we need to work hard. We need to have the great values. We need to have the amazing, values and attitude, and we have to keep doing the right thing. So well done, University of Peradeniya, Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya. Extremely proud of NextStep. And the most important factor that I love about NextStep is that consistency, because I've seen how you did it at Candy in 2017. I myself was there, and I saw how they coordinated. I saw how they were trying their level best to give them, the best. And I mean, after how many years now? Like, I mean, after 3 to 4 years, right, or more, 4 years, again, with the same energy, same objective, raising the bar, giving that. I mean, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of you, and I believe that all of us should put our hands together to all of you, and wish you all the very best. Keep flying high.
That was so inspiring, ma'am. Thank you so much for acknowledging that. What about you, sir? What do you think about our project?
I would like to echo the sentiments expressed by Bernadine. For all the listeners, this is a great opportunity. And as Bernadine very nicely illustrated it, a lot of seeds planted in your head, and so that they could grow into very big fruit-bearing trees. So it's a great opportunity. Not opportunities everyone would get, but to giving you that opportunity, definitely hats off to the organizing committee and the Rotaract Club of the University of Peradeniya. All the effort that you put in, not for yourselves, but for everyone, for everyone's development. And we know, right, organizing an event like this is not easy at all. All the work that goes behind the curtain, behind the scenes, a lot of hard work. So well done to all of you. Hats off for all that hard work, and for organizing a very successful session. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Even I'm so much, I feel I'm so lucky, because like I got the chance to moderate this an event in this caliber. So I'm so proud. And also we have a vote of thanks to be given by Rotaract Tipun Deniyawata. Tipun?
I hope I am audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you, Tipun.
So, a very good evening to all of you again. Ladies and gentlemen, I consider it a great privilege to address this distinguished gathering at the same time, because and honor all the commendable individuals who are there behind our success. So, NextStep 360 has been a signature project in Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya, and as the first step of it, we have completed this introductory webinar in a remarkable manner. As a project co-chair of NextStep 360 this time, let me pay my heartiest gratitude to all the generous individuals who supported us to make this event a success. So, we as Rotaractors in University of Peradeniya have always received the blessings and guidance of Dr. B.M.K. Pemasiri, the Senior Treasurer and the Staff Advisor of the Rotaract Club of University of Peradeniya, in order to establish our story of success. So first of all, I would like to give my uttermost gratitude to you, sir, for being there with us whenever we need you. Then, and most importantly, I am more than honored to thank our exceptional board of panelists who are there with us today, sharing their valuable insights and enlightening the dream careers of the participants with their innovative guidance. The Managing Director of the Institute of Essential Studies Private Limited, Assistant Governor of the Rotary District 3220 Rotarian, Past President, Paul Harris Fellow, Bernadine Jayasinghe, and the Assistant Vice President and the Head of Learning and Development in Retail Sector of the John Keells Group, Mr. Hiran Nugawela. On behalf of everyone, I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to both of you for being here with us today. So, the success story of this session would definitely not be this much impactful if it wasn't for the contribution of our official bronze partner, SLIC, Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation Limited, who were there as a backbone to make this impact in the first place. Next, I would like to appreciate the immense support and guidance given by the Career Guidance Unit of Peradeniya University in order to strengthen our vision and mission. Also, I would like to thank all the participants who were there with us today, trusting our purpose to be a part of this project, NextStep 360. Last but not least, I am very much grateful to my dearest organizing committee who held strong through thick and thin, and all the individuals who were supervised, guided, encouraged, and supported us in every possible way to write the success story of the first step of NextStep 360. So with that, I would like to mark the end of my vote of thanks while giving each and everyone a big round of applause, big round of appreciation, again as a co-chair of this project, NextStep 360. So thank you very much, everyone, and stay safe and safe.
Thank you, Thipun. Thank you for your words, and ma'am and sir. I had a great time moderating this event. Thank you. I got the very big privilege to work with you too. I would like to thank you too also. And with that, I guess we have to...
let me continue something. So your questions will be answered lately, and the feedback form is provided. So please be kind enough to give a feedback about the session. So we will be give you the immense pleasure in next events. Thank you.
With that, I guess we have to conclude our webinar session, and I would like to wish our enrolled participants all the best with their course material. Stay tuned for further updates about our course. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night, and thank you.